Live 95, Coleman's Independent Radio. The name of that band is Sum 41. I don't know what's wrong with Sum 40 or Sum 39, but anyway. 46, oh my goodness, 46 degrees outside. First day of spring, too. However crazy that is. It is Thursday, nearly 4 o'clock, which means it's time for the elephant in the room.
Broadcasting from the Plus One Heating and Air Studio.
You're listening to Live 95, Coleman's Independent Radio, WRJM-LP, Coleman.
There's a timpani sound. Yeah, okay. Hello, elephants.
Yeah.
Oh, we did make it.
Yeah, we did. You got your long handles on?
I'm going home to look for them. Put them up too soon.
I think we may need them. I'm with Richard Morris.
Well, and I'm with Howard Rogers.
And we're here as the elephants
in the room. Now, that means we're talking about subjects that other people just don't talk about.
Either they don't know, or they don't care, or they're ignorant.
Well, or there's things that people just don't talk about because they're the big problem that nobody has a good solution to.
Or they're afraid of pushback.
Yeah, that could be it too.
Well, ask Target about that.
Yeah. We're going to do a little bit on something different than counseling or psychology, and get you up to speed. We may have told you before, but Richard graduated from Birmingham Southern with a first degree in economics.
Well, I graduated from St. Bernard College.
St. Bernard College.
But I got most of my training in Birmingham Southern.
Got most of his training. My first degree was at the University of Alabama in Birmingham, and it was in accounting. So we're not exactly ignorant of the subject on which we're going to discuss today, even though we may sound like it at times. And we grabbed the engineer from the back room.
Hello.
Jay Fuller.
Yeah, he's here too.
We don't know where he's from.
Hello. What school of Mobile?
All right.
Mobile. Got a great song about it, too. Yeah. Degree in computer science and attending Mardi Gras parades.
Oh, yeah.
That ought to qualify you for about anything, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I know all about economics that way.
Yeah, but yesterday, I think it was, the Fed
met or announced their findings
on
what they're going to do.
Was nothing.
That's right.
Yeah, is that like the greyhound looking at the shadow and nothing will change since he didn't see it?
Yeah.
Well, that could be.
They decided to leave the interest rate alone, and Trump today is jumping up and down and screaming.
Yeah, he wants it lower.
He wants it lower, and maybe we ought to go into that and talk about that some and found a couple of little things, a brief history of interest and all those things. And economics encompasses a lot of different things.
It does.
So let's start with...
You mean Trump hasn't already fired the Fed chief?
Yeah, that's the only people in the government he hasn't fired.
Yeah, well, I think he's trying to fire all the judges, and they're not going willingly.
Nope. Well, I don't think the Fed would either. Well, here's the.
Now, is that the Rothschilds?
That's who it used to be before 1913.
By the way, if you'd like to chime in today, 256-737-9505. That just means I'll have to go back to the control room and answer the phone. So.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Okay. Well, no, it was founded by the Federal Reserve Act, December 23rd, 1913.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that sounds good, doesn't it? All right. Why was it even addressed? Why was that? What need did it have? Well, yeah, from about 30,000 BC, human existence became more refined until social and economic forms of agriculture appeared around 10,000 to 7,500 BC. This took the form of hoe gardening done mainly by women and led to matriarchal-based societies. And blah, 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 enabling the first city civilizations to arise, and the introduction of writing shortly after that led to a developing social technology. Wow. Well, that's what allowed loans to be originated and abused ever since.
Yeah, loans in the pre-urban societies were made in seed grains.
Oh, yeah, and animals.
and tools.
Wow.
To farmers. And from there we had an evolving, maybe semi-controlled method of managing money and interest and borrowing and paying and all of those things.
Well, that didn't require a Federal Reserve, did it?
I don't think so.
Not to start with, because it was real simple. Mm-hmm. I've got this pretty rock, and I want to trade it to you for this.
Barter, I think they called it.
That's right.
I mean, not to jump too far ahead, but that's what we say will happen once the currency crashes. And, the dollar is no longer the standard. I'll buy my Big Mac with my pile of gravel, and you can.
Yeah, and I remember Mother telling me that she paid the physician that delivered me in butter and eggs.
Yeah, my mother's father,
who was also a doctor.
Yeah, he got paid in butter, eggs, and sometimes every once in a while a chicken.
Mother wasn't giving
or
away the
pig,
chicken because
or sausage or something.
Well, I mean, I've heard rumors lately that eggs were really valuable, but that goes above and beyond what I would have.
Well, they are. Now, I've heard they're going down. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it.
I had 2 this morning, so I hope they weren't too expensive.
I hope they went down successfully, Howard.
I would.
And are not coming back anytime soon.
Let me tell you, my breakfast this morning was 2 eggs.
Yeah,
slice of toast and some fresh fried potatoes, peeled and diced. And
okay.
Now, do I got a wife or do I got a wife?
Yeah, you did she put any onions in those potatoes?
No.
Oh no! How could you eat
squash,
it?
I think sometimes she does. She chops them up just really fine and cooks them really crisp, and you can't taste or smell them. But yeah.
All right, I like that, except with onions.
Yeah, you want a lot of onions, and you can taste them.
I love them.
He goes into the busy bee, and he gets a salad, and can I get extra onions?
Well, sure. Why would you want it without them? Well, anyway, we wandered off the topic again. We seem to do that more.
Our show, we wander where we want to. But if you would like to be a part of the show, 256
737
9505.
You got
Wow.
it. You got it.
Between us, we knew it.
So how do we get from back there to the monetary aspects of today?
Well, what happens if you get bad grain? Somebody is, giving you grain to pay you back, and it's 2 years ago grain. That's, that's the problem.
Is that a bad debt?
I would call it that, but they wouldn't. They'd say, I paid you what you told me to. Mm-hmm. But that's really the thing. That's why we came up with the token economy.
Yeah.
That was the first example.
Was the origin.
Yeah, of money.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure how old that is, but I do know that the Egyptians, the ancient Greeks,
Romans.
Indians, the Romans, yeah, all of them used coins even by then.
Yeah.
Now the Chinese, I think, had coins with a hole in the middle, and the Indians used all sorts of.
Well, in the early 40s, we had tokens with a hole in the middle because I know one of them was on our front door to hold the wooden spoon. Now, I am serious here.
Okay, I'm not going to disagree with you.
Wooden spool that was put up there. A token was threaded through a nail, and the nail was driven through the spool with the token holding the nail in place.
Wow.
So we had tokens with holes in them in the early 40s.
Well, and they in Alabama used to use tax tokens too. Yeah. I still have a couple of those. Yeah. Well, not still. They weren't using them when I was a kid, but I have a few of those, and some from other states too.
So the use of money and tokens fulfills several difficulties.
But the problem with those tokens were you could cheat. You could make some more just like them.
Go out back.
Okay, so what they had to do was to come up with something that was hard to copy. And so they used metal that was refined. Mm-hmm. And that was good enough for a long time. But then they got to where you could make gold out of gold, silver, lead, zinc, even dirt, I guess, if you just add a little extra in there. So that it wasn't a good coinage, if you want to call it that. So then the different countries or regions started
this is my money,
making their own, so that anybody who traded would know what it was made of.
And they put their leader's picture on it.
Well, that was political sloganeering. Early. That was probably the start of that too.
But all of this changing of the rate leads to what? I mean, so why do I care?
Well, as long as you're talking 1 or 2%, really doesn't matter, because it doesn't cost you that much more to repay it and to pay the interest on it. But what about time limits? If somebody says here's $1, quote, whatever that is, mm-hmm. and you borrow it, and they say, well, pay me back, and I want $1 in one of these other coins too, and then you don't pay it exactly then they come back and say, well, no, I want my $1 and 5 of those coins.
Yeah.
That was usury. That's what we call it anyway.
Well, Aristotle formulated the classical view against usury somewhere around 384 to 322.
BC or AD?
He was BC.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So that people have been, what would you call that? Sneaky for a long, long time.
So let's look at maybe a real life situation. You go into the bank, and I remember going into the bank borrowing money, and they say, well, that's going to be prime plus 5.
Yep. Where do they get prime?
I think that's a manufactured number based on the Fed's setting of the rate.
And that's how we connect that to the Fed. But there really was a way to do that.
There was a way to do it. The Fed.
I always thought prime was 3.17, something. I don't know.
Oh, that's pi. It's 2
pi.
3.14.
Okay. Well, one of them p's. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was last week. Pi day was last week. That's
Sorry.
Yeah. But you look at it, and how does that filter down to us? If the prime is 4.5,
which is about what it's set at now, 4.5 to 4.75.
So prime plus 3 would be 7.5%.
Right.
So if prime goes to 7.5%, how does that affect my ability to buy things?
You want to answer that, Jay?
Well, I'd like to review two parts of that question. All right,
okay.
So if prime is, what did you say, 4.5, does that mean that the bank that is loaning me money is borrowing their money at 4.5 and then they're making 3 on top of it?
Yep.
So they are borrowing all that money and they're not taking it from your deposits and your deposits. And
well, now that's where they get some of their money, but there's no way they could handle all the real estate loans and auto loans.
We're getting really deep into this because if the bank wants to loan me money, they got to have money. They have to have enough money in reserve, a percentage of it, to cover mine and still have some left. And if they don't, they can borrow some from the Fed at right now 4.5%.
Right. And
a lot of this is regulated, right?
Yeah.
From the bank regulator / examiner /
Have you heard of the Federal Reserve?
Yeah.
Okay. If your deposits and all are covered by FDIC insurance, guess who runs that?
The Fed.
The Fed. That's right.
So they can borrow the money, and since they don't always have to borrow it, so regardless of what they establish, the 4.5 that's prime. That's prime. And then, poof.
Well, how do they make money if they don't add to that 4.5%.
Well, I don't have any problem making money, Richard. I just don't want to make it all for me. A friend of mine, bless his heart, he's had a rough life. He bought a car, had to have a car to get to work and back so he could get enough money to pay the loan payment, and his interest rate was 29.88. That 29.88.
Well, when that car was sold to him, the dealer got a cut from that.
Yeah, the bank has a buy
reserve
rate.
Or something.
Yeah, well, they have a buy rate. So if you go to the car dealership and they say, "Hey, you want me to finance that for you?" They say, "Yeah, great, we'll do that." How much will it be? Well, it'll be 19%. And that dealer has been told by the bank that there is a buy rate. The buy rate is 9%. We sold it for 19. We'll split the other 4.5.
We really are getting deep. All right, so your Long Lewis Fork used to be Ackenrod, but sold.
Yeah. I used to work for Long Lewis and Bessemer.
Okay.
I sold cars.
Are all of those cars on consignment, or does the dealership actually buy them before they sell them to you?
No, they're
floor
on
plan, which is on consignment, which they're paying interest on to a certain extent. So they're a semi-buy. But
they have to pay interest on the amount that they borrowed.
This is a very educational show because you have product X, and then every time it hits the ground, somebody's paying interest or some kind of.
And every time it gets moved from one place to the next,
somebody's making money on that.
Well, somebody has to, or they're not going to
do it for free.
Now,
the car dealerships, the new cars are on consignment.
Right.
Used ones, they're usually owned by the dealership.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But then those are floor planned, a lot of them.
Yeah, they'll go in from the bank and buy or borrow money on them.
That's it.
And the bank charges them interest.
And then they have to, when the unit's sold, they have to reimburse the bank for that difference. So anyway, it's a pretty involved.
It really is, and people don't understand that regardless of where you go, if you are buying something on time, you're going to pay interest. And
For
the
sure.
interest.
What do you mean by buy something on time? Over 5 years or 7 years?
2 years, 5 years, 90 days, same as cash? No, it ain't.
Well, it may be, but they add on a little bit to the price.
Yeah, but
come on, Howard! I bought my very first real new car in 2002 from Eckenrod.
Yeah,
0% interest. No, it wasn't.
No.
But to me, it was. So, but yeah, there was definitely margin built into it.
They are not people in business to make money can't lose money and stay in business. So they're going to make some of it on the sale of the product. And automobile people, you don't realize that when they finance that with the bank, they are getting part of the interest the bank is charging you for putting that loan to the bank.
But, it's interesting that they figured out how to bypass the bank. For example, who financed my very first automobile in 2002? It was Ford Motor Credit. Okay. Now, they were probably backed by a bank, but, yeah, they had their own thing.
To an extent, they are, and an extent, they aren't. One of the things they cannot do is loan you more money for the car than it's worth.
Interesting.
And the worth is not based on the suggested retail price.
No. You go into a dealership that uses Ford Motor Credit, and you're top heavy in your car, they cannot buy you out of your car because that would be lending money. They're not lending money like a bank. They're lending money for that
purchase of the new vehicle.
Hey, if you've got questions or this is over your head and you'd like to have further explanation, good luck. 256-737-9505.
And I think so many people don't realize that banks are out there to make money.
Yeah. Well, okay, you buy your insurance. You make your payment for your insurance.
Oh, let's not talk about that. That'll anger me.
Well, okay. we won't talk much about that part of it. But what do they do with that?
The list of things for me to do next week is to print out my policies from last year and compare them to this year. I guarantee you they have doubled.
Take something for it before you start.
Used to.
I shopped them.
Car dealerships set themselves up. We're going to sell the car.
Right.
We're going to sell interest. We're going to sell insurance.
Right, because they get a cut on every bit of it.
They sold life insurance, term life insurance,
right,
to cover the price of the car.
Decreasing term life insurance.
To cover the price of the car. Well, they acted quasi as an agent. So in Alabama, you've got to have an agent sign it. So they sent some people off to agent school. And the finance manager usually was the
somebody
agent.
who is
and he would
accredited
sell
for that.
you on the bank, and he would sell you on the insurance company, and he would get half of the profit on that to go in his little pocket.
Okay.
And all of that is predicated upon this 4.5 prime rate, because when you get that out, let's paint the picture here. You go into the automobile dealership.
Mm-hmm.
You want to buy a car.
Okay.
He said, let me finance that for you. What kind of rate can you give me? The buy rate's 9%. I can get it for you at 12%. Well, that's kind of,
Well, they're getting an extra 3%.
They're getting an extra 3% between the bank and the car dealership.
That's called a wrap.
Yep. The bank has got it for 4.5.
They've made 4.5.
They've made 4.5.
Dealerships made 3.
Dealerships made 3.
But they're going to buy you a free tank of gas for that new car.
Well,
unless it's an electric car.
Yeah, and then they'll give you free charging at the dealership.
Yeah. So the prime rate has so much to do with it. And
right.
At one point in time, there was a law in Alabama against usury.
Right. It seemed like that rate was set 8% or something.
I don't know.
10.
I printed out the law.
Yeah,
even though my office is by an attorney's office, I don't understand this. I'm going to take it in and ask her, can you explain that? She'll probably throw me out, but that's okay. But the usury law, there was a certain limit. As I mentioned, my friend, almost 30% interest. That is outrageous.
Right.
Somebody's making right at 25%
on that money. And
what's going to happen is he's going to end up losing the car because he can't make the payment.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why when you finance and you have a low credit rating, you have to pay so much more for your loan, is because they're paying for that risk. It's called a risk premium. And they're going to make money on that as well.
Yep. If I go into my bank and tell him I want to buy a car and he said, well, the buy rate's 9, I'd look at him and laugh. I don't care what the buy rate is. I ain't paying it. I know what prime is. We can go with 6, or I can go somewhere else.
But that's because and we talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
That's because you have a checking account there.
Yeah.
That you've had for a long time.
Yeah,
you have never had a bad check written on it. Mm-hmm. You don't over withdraw or whatever.
Nope.
You borrowed other money there.
Oh, yeah.
And
paid it off
repaid it early or on time, exactly on time. So they know you were good for it. That's the only way you get a better rate.
Yep. It's worth it, though, folks. Don't live above your standard of living.
Oh, and by the way, when you go to any place and you go in and you start in the door, and they say, and the salesman greets you at the door saying, "Well, what are you looking for?" And then the second question is going to be,
"How much can you afford?
How much are your payments? Yeah, how much do you need for your payments to be?" If I was you, I'd turn around and walk out. But they all do that. So
that's what I did when I was selling cars. How much can you afford per month?
Well, because that's that extra bit for the dealership that you get a percent of.
Okay, now why is Trump jumping up, down, screaming, hollering, and mad because they didn't lower the rate?
Because he's a real estate mogul. And that means that the interest rates are too high for people to make their payments.
So they
don't buy. And what does that do?
That kind of equates to purchasing power, right? How much can you afford to buy?
Yeah.
Right. You're living from one month to the next. And that they've even refined that further with autos to where you're leasing cars. You don't ever own it. You have it.
Well, you don't ever own your property either. You keep paying the government forever and ever and ever. Amen.
Yeah, and locally,
we could do a long show on that.
You pay taxes, and they seem to go up every year too, don't they?
So, yeah.
All right, we're off the subject now.
Trump wants the economy to be more robust, and he said that the Fed is killing a robust economy by refusing to lower the interest rate. How do we walk through that and make that make sense?
Well, the problem with what he's saying is that already we have too few homes being built. Let's go back to the original, my original point as an economist. Everything is based on supply and demand, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The lower the supply and the higher the demand, the higher the price is going to be you have to pay for.
Kind of like a guy got 3 apples and there's 5 people standing there to buy them. How much is the price of the apple going to be?
About twice what it was before.
Yeah.
So that's one of the problems. Another is with the tariffs on Canadian building materials, all of that,
energy
is that we're paying those higher prices without getting the higher supply.
Okay, let's just back up for just a minute. When you look at inflation, the primary rate or the primary definition of inflation is paying a higher price without a corresponding increase in quality or quantity.
Right.
So if you're paying more for it this year than you did last year, and you're getting the same quality and the same quantity, then you've got inflation.
Yeah.
And Trump is saying, okay, if we lower the interest rate there, the prices...
More people can afford their monthly payment, basically.
Technically, it won't be inflation, but it is.
It is. And see, that's one of the reasons why they won't do it right now. The other thing, though, is that if you look long term, the U.S. government is headed over a cliff. I think we talked about that
a little bit
Jay,
before the show. Yep.
$35 trillion deficit. Well, the higher the interest rates, the more we have to pay to borrow that money or to maintain what we already owe.
So you're saying that we are a borrower from other nations simply because we can't handle our own affairs?
We won't handle our own affairs.
Well, now, what do you think Musk is going to do about that? Isn't that one of the things he's trying to do? He says by 2026, if we do things right, we can wipe out the deficit.
Yeah, no, I think you said we could wipe out inflation by balancing the budget.
We're not going to wipe out that deficit.
Yeah, it's going to take a while.
In yours or my lifetime, or even your lifetime, no. Jay. And that's if we are frugal.
That it's if you laid dollar bills end to end, it's 25,000 miles roughly around the world. How many times could you go around the world laid end to end dollar bills on $1 trillion?
I don't know, but it'd be more than once. I guarantee you.
I think it would. Well, a dollar bill is 6 inches. What's 25,000 miles? How many inches is that?
Oh God.
Well, talking about tariffs,
more than 30,000.
So yeah. when we bring in, for example, wood from Canada, yeah. And Trump says, and a lot of other people say, all right, just buy from the U.S. The tariffs won't be on that. Well, when your hardware store, I don't know if it was just mentioned the one on the south end of town, any of them, since we're not going to name any by name. Oh. Right. Do you think they actually are like, this wood is made in the USA and this wood is made in Canada and this wood is, 618 and, a slab and this, I don't know what they call wood. And this wood is, 10/24. No, they're going to make it all the same price, are they not?
Yeah, they are. They're
going to raise this.
But here's the other thing is that we have already
to match this.
We've already cut the majority of all the really good timber in the United States. That's why we import so much from Canada.
And a lot of what we're using wood for, we could use.
Well, and if we would just quit making trashy stuff out of pressed wood and
I'm not sure that's us. Isn't that China?
That's everybody in the world, but
yeah.
I will not buy it.
it'll end up in the dump within 10 years.
Yeah, but it's short term. Sweet wife went several years ago and said, we need a new TV stand. No, we want a new TV stand.
There you go.
So she went over to this little place, not going to mention the name, but it's over there close to the Japanese food place there, and she went in and picked one out.
Paid a lot for it too, didn't she?
No, she didn't. She didn't get it.
Oh.
I went in and looked at it. It was pressed wood.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Nope. She said, we're not going to buy a TV stand. Oh, we'll buy a TV stand.
But there's not one.
We ain't buying that one. So I walked around there and I found one. It was about 3 times what that one was. And the lady said, would you like it delivered or do you want to take it yourself? I went over and I said, we'll deliver it. Solid wood, every piece of board is solid wood, well shaped. That is what, if you buy it, it'll last 5 times longer and you can leave it as a hand-me-down to your grandkids.
Well, and that's why antiques are actually a great buy. Yeah. And they're green. Did you ever stop to think about that? Because they're already cut down. Mm-hmm. We've already paid the carbon on them. Yep. So, and they will last 200 years or more.
And the other part of it is those presswood things. They're easy to move and they're cheap and
don't get it wet.
Don't get it wet.
Don't get it wet.
Don't set your coffee cup on it. But they're easy to make though because you can take these little scrub trees and you can chop them all up and just like I had a conversation the other day with a guy. I said, you know why when I was eating meat the only thing I would eat grilled because I wouldn't eat battered. He said, why? I said, because if you're eating grilled, you can see what you're eating. If you're eating battered, you don't know what's under that batter.
Never thought of it that way.
Next time you cut into that chicken, you think, that wasn't a pretty piece of chicken because they had been there to grill it.
All right, guys, it's a little after 4:30. Let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then when we come back, we can check in with our resident meteorologist.
Great.
All right.
Stay tuned.
Guthrie's Auto Service has been providing quality automotive service since 1985. Located in Coleman on Eva Road, just north of 157, Guthrie's Auto Service is a AAA approved and Napa Auto Care Center, meaning their repair work is warranted up to 3 years or 36,000 miles, and because they're part of the Napa Auto Care Network, their work is also warranted at over 14,000 Napa Auto Care locations across the country. Terry Guthrie and his team are award-winning, collecting Napa's Auto Care Center of the Year for the Nashville Distribution Center and a People's Choice Award in 2020. More information is online at Guthrie'sAutoservice.net.
In 1952, 7 men at an aluminum plant banded together and started Lister Hill Credit Union with only $5 each. Today, more than 92,000 have joined us, continuing the legacy of supporting themselves and the community through Lister Hill. It's all about we and what we can do together.
Are you looking for a reliable ride at the lowest prices in town with financing? PNC Auto has you covered. Finance options for all credit types, good, bad, or ugly. Plus, a free vehicle report is available for each listing. You can get pre-qualified today online at mypcauto.com. And they offer a free 90-day powertrain warranty or free maintenance for a year. No, we're not kidding. Chad Johnson and Paul Carpenter are ready to help you drive away happy today. Chad is available at 256-493-2491, or Paul can be reached at 256-339-9932. PNC Auto on Highway 278 just past the Methodist Church, or online at mypcauto.com.
I'm Ed Horrell, author of The Kindness Revolution. A colleague of mine authored a book called 212, The Extra Degree. In it, he uses hot water as an example of what a little extra can mean in our lives. He explains that water is hot up until the time it reaches 211 degrees. When it hits 212 degrees, it begins to boil. When it boils, it generates steam. And with steam, you can power a locomotive. 1 degree makes that much difference. the difference in a train sitting still or moving down the tracks at high speed. Maybe this year will be a good time to notch our lives up that 1 degree. Whether it be our work, relationship, health, or any other part of our lives, that 1 degree increase in effort will lead to some giant results. It's time to get that locomotive moving. To learn more, check us out at thekindnessrevolution.net.
All right, welcome back to the Elephant in the Room, and I just want to give a shout-out real quick. If you're driving, I know you've never heard this before, you might want to avoid Interstate 65.
Really?
It ain't moving between about Good Hope and Dodge City. So just,
imagine that. I don't know what could happen.
304 down to 299. Just don't. Okay, that being said, Izzy is standing by.
Greetings and salutations. It's not raining yet. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
Hey, we're good. We have some questions for you. The first one is, it's more of a psychological question than a meteorological question. Why is it people are alive and are mad that the weatherman or the weatherwoman or the meteorologist missed the forecast?
Oh, that's true. And they didn't miss the forecast. It just didn't hit them.
Yeah, thank goodness.
That's true. That's true. I will never understand that. That is a question maybe for someone to research, for sure.
Yeah, that'd be a good thesis topic, wouldn't it? The other question I had, and we'll let you get into the weather here, is this is the first day of spring.
Correct.
Right? And it's not acting like it is.
No, it's not. And that is because of a cold front that is settling in. And I think it is just winter saying goodbye.
Oh. Yeah. Is that what
winter
they call blackberry winter?
Had to make its final exit.
Yeah.
This is when we respond with, well, good riddance.
Yeah, that was a beautiful segue.
Right.
That was a beautiful segue with my question, just rolling it right in there. So what do we have to look forward to?
So I actually did want to talk about today just a little bit still. So our high today is 49 degrees. And as you said, it is a cold start to our winter. This is about 20 degrees below our average temperature for this week.
I thought it was.
So it is definitely not feeling like spring right now.
Nope.
But that's going to continue for tonight and tomorrow. Tonight, our overnight low is going to be about 32 degrees, and there is actually a freeze warning in effect from 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. So for anybody that has their plants outside already, or if you keep animals outside, you're going to want to bring them in tonight just so your plants don't get ruined and so your
animals are still
puppies
talking
and
to you.
kitties aren't cold.
Yes.
But for the weekend, for Friday, the high is going to be 59, so it's going to warm up pretty significantly, 10-degree warm up in 24 hours.
That's good.
And it's going to be quite a beautiful day. It's going to be mostly sunny. There's going to be some clouds rolling in the afternoon, evening hours, but other than that, pretty clear. Those are going to clear up by Saturday. They're going to clear up overnight. And your low walking out the door is going to be 44 Saturday, so still a little chilly.
I ain't walking out the door.
Not without a coat.
Your high is going to be 67 degrees.
That's reasonable. I can live with that.
And Sunday night is what I'm really wanting to focus on. So Sunday night, there are going to start to be some clouds rolling in. You might see some scattered showers as well, about a 20% chance in the afternoon, but that chance is going to increase, and it is likely going to rain, about a 90% chance of rain for the area, and there is a slight chance that these could be thunderstorms, and there's about a 15% severe potential for this time period.
Well, gosh, you're just a little ball of cheer.
Hey, now see, that's another good question. Is why
Don't
why
shoot
we
the messenger, Howard.
Why do we hold the meteorologist responsible for bad weather? He or she did not do it. But you are the messenger and therefore get shot a lot.
and we do appreciate you bringing us the message so we'll know how to dress.
I will gladly be wrong any day and gladly make people mad any day if it means warning people about their severe weather.
That's true. Well, Friday, we had, it was not a pretty weekend. Friday was rough, and I remember seeing where a large tornado jumped from about Dodge City maybe, or out down in that area to the other side of Fairview and missed Coleman.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Hey, if you ever have a weather question, Izzy's here with us each Thursday at about 4:30. Write it down. 256-737-9505. We appreciate you calling in and being with us. Hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you, and y'all too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Well,
here we go. Where were we? I think we were trying to make sense of how Trump getting upset at them leaving the rate where it was.
Yeah, I think we were trying to crash the market. I don't know if it was the stock market or the Fed market or the bond market or the He-Man market, but I think we were trying to crash the market.
Well, look at it this way. When the price of bonds goes up, the interest rate paid on them goes down. And when the price goes up, the interest rate goes down. When the price goes down, the interest rate goes up.
Almost failed my first finance course because I couldn't get that through my thick skull.
Well, yeah, you can
the
tell.
The inverse relationship.
That's it. Sometimes that's what happens. So the interest rate does make a difference in that they set makes a difference in what we have to pay for car loans, home loans.
But is it so much the interest rate or our response to the interest rate?
Well, we are a debtor nation. And we are a nation of not producers, but users, right?
My granddaddy once said, if you can't pay for it today, what's going to change between now and next week that you can pay for it then?
Well, you could make a payment on it.
Yeah.
It's because he lived through the Great Depression, and we didn't.
Yes, he did. Yes,
yeah, my mom and
I don't know about y'all, but I didn't. So.
I was on the tail end of it.
I didn't. I wasn't here, but I heard all about it from my mom and dad. It was a hard time for everybody in the U.S.
I actually did it.
Uh-oh.
Walking down the hill.
And you're going to admit it?
Yeah. Hey.
Okay.
I'm every bit of what I look. I remember walking down the hill because there was a peddler. You know what a peddler is?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
They bought old buses and they put stuff in them. And down below my house is a creek, and there's a shady spot over there. And he'd go down there. That's where he'd stop every time and eat lunch. And I'd take eggs and butter and whatever else, dried beans, and trade them for sugar.
Yeah.
No way we could make sugar.
Right.
Trade them for flour. No way we could make flour, salt, and those things. Trade what we could make.
Right, for the things you couldn't.
And we'd leave the corn on the stalk until it got dried, and we'd shell it, and we'd put it in a sack, and we'd take it to Clyde Neesmith's gin and whatever in West Point.
And mill.
And he had a unique thing going. It was 3 and 4. He'd weigh it, and then he'd divide it by 4, and he'd take 1/4 of it and give you the other 3/4.
So he took a interest on it.
He did.
Well, now, how could he do something like that? It's because nobody works for free. Sorry.
Well, he sold the cornmeal.
Right.
And he made his money for grinding it by taking a part of it. You know, you walk through the Bible in every third and every fourth and doing all that.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually picked cotton that way. We'd pick a guy's cotton, and he'd give us 1/4
Okay, so if we experienced what the internet refers to as an SHIF event, think about it. Something hits the fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Schiff.
I
know the Schiff family.
Is this the way that society will return? I mean, will we all, and I think we would we all center around the farmer's market and
I think
a lot of barter and trade?
I think you're going to center around the farmer's market. I think you're also going to see a lot of people out there digging in the dirt. I've already got 2 chicken coops. I put two hens in each coop.
But you're also going to see a lot more of these little markets, flea markets, and that sort of thing, because used
traders
manufactured goods.
And they already pop up all over 222 going out to the lake planting season.
And maybe we can get Beverly to go over that with us. I think she's got a booth or 2 on the market going up 278. I would like. I can't do it. I don't have that. It's not me. It's too much trouble. It's labor intensive.
It is. I used to help an auctioneer go through estates and sell it for the family.
But at that point, is the pricing controlled by the Fed, or is the pricing controlled literally by what someone is willing to pay for it?
There you go. Ultimately, that's what it is. Now we tried to set a price, and oftentimes we could, because the people that came in were not as knowledgeable about what we had as we were.
And the closer you get to the end of the day, the cheaper some of the items will be.
Yep. That's true. That's very true. And the harder it is to load them in their car.
So from that little market perspective, as we spread out, isn't that just basically the way the economy is going to go?
Well, that ultimately leads to scarcity. Mm-hmm. Because if we're not manufacturing it, which right now we're not.
It's kind of like you described from the Great Depression. You were not able to make X, Y, and Z, so you traded A, B, and C for.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So who was able to make? Was it your neighbors, or did you have to buy it from somebody out of town, or what?
That's the point.
The peddler came through there.
Okay.
And he knew what was going on in the country. He knew that, little lady up front of his route, she can't make no eggs. She hasn't got room for chickens. She
right. So you're describing a job that apparently is no longer a thing that could come back if the world were to collapse.
Yeah.
Well, and that, I think, is what would happen.
Explain that to Elon Musk.
Whether it's precisely that or some derivation of that, it will be local markets, I think, is how that'll end up.
But I think the learning curve is going to be extremely steep.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, and there'll be
unless you've been thinking about it a little bit, which some of us have. I mean, for example, the global supply chain breaks down.
Yeah.
Do you really think the local restaurants are just going to close? No. They're going to buy from the local farmers and still make a buck.
Well, there's one place over there on Highway 31
that already does.
Do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I applaud that. Yeah.
Well,
there's a restaurant in town that advertises with us, so we'll mention them, called The National.
Yeah.
And they say they do that too.
Oh, I haven't eaten there yet.
Me either.
Wow. Maybe I should. Unless they're charging for that brand.
I will. I can't answer because I don't know, because I haven't been there. So
right.
Leave it at that. I don't know.
Well, and see, that's one of the primary products that all of our opponents or trading partners put taxes on, one way or the other. Mm-hmm. They either charge us for sending it to them, or they raise the money, the price for us, because we don't have it. We're not manufacturing it. Well, there's no place else we can get it.
We used to think about this more, especially during COVID. Allegedly, the transportation costs increased to get items to the store shelves, but then we've recovered from that.
Well,
but the prices didn't go back down.
No, we should go right back to how we were living before, shouldn't we? Well, that's what's happening.
But I don't know what happened. Eggs are on the way down. Why? What happened to the eggs?
There's more supply now.
Yeah, did we get more
chickens?
That's
it. I think that they have more matured chickens that have not died from the bird flu.
People started raising chickens.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that raising a chicken from infancy to laying eggs is not a long way.
No, but it takes feed, and all the other things that's related.
It takes food and feed, but you can put up a little pen there, and they'll eat the bugs and the grain and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
But going from chicken to egg or steel billets or whatever to a car is a lot of difference. And I think that's where we're missing it. We don't
and that's
understand.
going to be, how far down we get pushed by whatever, if it's a calamity, by how far down we're pushed will say how far we can come back up in a reasonable period of time.
How many of us can milk a cow?
Not me.
I can watch a YouTube video on it as long as the internet works.
Won't be long.
How many of us is taking the pig out of the pen, slung it up over an oak tree on a double tree, and had that thing?
Nope.
And having Grandma making sage sausage.
Oh, no, that would be, that's pretty good. But
Or feeling sorry for the rooster when he was identified as a rooster because his end is going to be short. As long as he gets big enough to eat, he'll be a pot of dumplings.
That's right.
Roosters are worthless.
Well, except for one every 150 chickens or so.
Somewhere around. So as we look at changes, we've got to look backwards to see where we were to get where we are before we can go where we want to be.
Well, and we don't know where we're going to be. Like Jay was saying, the odds right now, to me, the odds are about 60-40 that we'll be okay for the next 10, 15 years.
I think when it gets real bad, I will have already been gone.
Me too.
Thanks for the encouraging words, guys.
Oh, well, you may be too. Does that make you feel better?
But that's one of the things I'm trying to teach my kids, my grandkids, my great-grandkids. You may have to eat that chicken someday. Don't get too attached to it.
Well, see, we have divorced ourselves from that whole idea.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate.
I already eat the chicken. Just somebody else prepares it for me.
Oh, yeah.
At least I think. Now, it might be a completely artificial chicken. I'll never know. So.
Maybe
Tofu.
it was just identifying as a chicken.
I think we're past that, Howard. I hope we're past that.
Well, now, we do have some problems that are going to come up because of the, what do they call that?
By the way,
repatriation of the
plant-based chicken is not chicken. Just saying.
Right. The repatriation.
Somebody fed that to me once, and I'm like, but you're a vegetarian anyway, aren't you? So
I'm not.
This is not your issue.
No, don't.
Well, how is the repatriation of illegal immigrants?
Oh, that's a topic.
Going to affect our chicken supply?
Hasn't really affected it yet, has it?
Yet.
Yeah,
because the
that's
people
the operative term.
The people we're kicking out are too busy murdering and raping to
Well, as long as those
prepare
are the
chickens
ones,
for us.
If those are the ones that are being kicked out, I'm all for it.
They weren't picking up the eggs either, and that's the reason.
Who's going to build all the new houses?
I have heard that they've raided one or two construction crews on the Gulf Coast.
Well, if they raided the construction crews all over, we wouldn't have anything going on construction-wise.
It won't be me building the houses, I promise you.
I can't do it anymore.
Man, I never could.
Well, I mean, if you believe what you watch, by the time we get rid of the illegal aliens, they'll have robots building houses.
Well, and they'll have a 3D
cars.
3D printer come out and print your house.
I watched something on YouTube or Facebook or somewhere where they were keeping a flow of concrete.
Right.
And they were building a house by computer.
No, it's a 3D printer, basically.
Yeah. I thought,
I mean, they're prefabricated buildings now. I mean, I know that's how Chick-fil-A's new renovation was done. They shipped the walls in, and that was it.
Yeah, you realize that many, many, many years ago you could buy a house from Sears?
I heard that. I saw pictures of it, and they were pretty nice houses.
There were some nice houses, right?
We may be back to that.
Well,
we don't have Sears.
We already have, what is that? Those little micro homes or mini homes.
Yeah.
Some of those are available for sale, and they do come in a kit.
Yeah, people down at the bottom of the Battleground Mountain.
Doesn't everything come in a kit?
Yeah, everything comes in a kit.
Oh, yeah. And they probably left a couple of pieces out.
Now, we started with a 4.5% prime rate.
And now we're into mini homes.
Yeah,
Yes.
but
I guess this is going to continue into next week's show. I don't know.
yeah,
It could be.
Who knows?
That's up to Jay.
I think Beverly's got a guest for next week. And by the way, we are missing her. She had business that was more important than our frivolity. So
How dare her?
yes.
Well, it involved some very important things, so I can understand her absence. Yeah. I would be absent too. So anyway, enough said about that.
Yeah.
We want her back next week.
So prime rate going down may be good because interest rates may be less.
But then inflation goes up.
If the prime rate goes down, inflation goes up. Why is that? How does that work?
Prices.
Why? Because the interest rate is down, they can borrow more money, and we are a nation of borrowers, so we borrow more money, which causes the creation of supply, which causes more people to go to work, which means you've got more money, so they spend that, and the price of everything goes up because people have more money. And since the inflation is an increase in price without a corresponding increase in quality or quantity, there you go.
Well, I don't have all these book smarts that you guys have, but there's only two things in my life that I've seen that will bring prices down. The first one was the 2008 financial crisis / recession. And the second thing is competition. And that don't work anymore because everybody price fixes. You know, if the corner store is selling their soda for $2.69, all of a sudden Dollar General is selling their soda for $2.69.
And every gas station for 38 miles up and down the interstate got the same price. How does
that happen?
Well, unless there's a gas war, and then one of them will be a penny less.
Yeah, they went down a penny. Now,
and advertise, we have the lowest prices in town.
When my gas gets to a quarter of a tank, sometimes a half, I start looking for a gas station.
Well, this time of year, I keep mine at least half full all the time anyway.
Absolutely. But that, and how many gas stations can Coleman support?
Well, nearly as many as car washes.
Yeah, but they're building one on 278, and there's two right down the road from it. They built one at 304, and there's two right down the road from it on one.
I hope they're putting a restaurant or some place where people can get off the interstate and spend some time.
Yeah, that would be nice. And they're building something down where the old Quincy's used to be. I don't know where it is, but they built $3,814 General since they started that.
Wow.
But then there's $100 Generals clousing based on use.
I was going to say, there's
not around here, they're not.
Well, there's a number of stores closing. Big Lots is closed here. And what was that?
I actually don't think it has. I think the one here.
Did. The one here is their last day was 2 days ago or something.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they are planning to reopen, I understand.
They are?
Yeah. The company who bought them is doing some updates and some restructuring, and then going to be reopening at least our store.
That sounds good. I didn't know that. That's good to hear.
But now, I'm sitting here with bated breath, waiting on another sandwich stop.
I'm sure it's coming.
Well, folks, it's been fun.
I think we're about out of time, unfortunately. We could go another hour on this, I think.
Yep.
Well, not today. We can't. We want at least one more person to listen to us.
Some feminine input, as it were.
It would probably take some of the rough edges off.
Yep. And most of you are aware with the favorite word with a woman with a card.
Charge.
We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Y'all technically should keep talking while I walk back to the control room. It's all good.
Do that.
Yeah, we can do that. If you have an idea for a show, 256-737-9505.
Well, that would be good.
Yeah.
Or for a guest.
Yeah, if you have an idea.
Because we found out that's kind of fun to have them.
Yeah,
we learn a lot.
It is. We had the the Coleman City School Superintendent.
Right.
And I reached out to
Shane Barnett, the county. Yeah, what'd he say?
He hadn't reached back.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm in the control room now.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for listening to Coleman's Live 95. It's time now to check our regional news from the Alabama Radio Network.